We got it. Good jobs. We made it work. I don't know what we did, but we made it work. Hello, everybody. Sorry for the delay. I don't know. It shut down my computer. That's how bad the freeze was. I don't know what happened. Um, so the objective behind this live was to actually talk about a subject that came up in conversation the other day, which was if there was one thing I'd have to do going back, what would I change in the business? And I've actually done a couple of videos about this in the past, kind of talking about. First of all, let me know if you guys can even hear me, because I don't know, this whole thing's being weird right now. Wait until I keep talking. My microphone isn't showing volume. Okay. I lost my train of thought. I was asked the other day if I had to change something in the business, what would I do? I've made videos about this in the past in detail, like every little thing I could think of. Honestly, when it comes down to it, there is one specific thing I would do slightly differently, and we're going to talk about that kind of throughout. But to answer your question, Eddie, since you were kind of here a few minutes early, and I saw you in Matt and JoJo's live, I'm assuming that's how you joined over here. If you don't know, if you've never seen my channel, I started off with U-Hauls. I was working part-time as a professional mover. I didn't have a truck. I had a Hyundai Elantra, a little sedan, and I used U-Hauls whenever I had jobs available. So I'm very familiar with your situation. I'm just reading through your questions really quick. So you have an SUV that can tow up to 8,900 pounds. That's a lot for an SUV. I don't understand how that works, but you have 6,000 saved up. Is 6,000, is that like business profit you have saved up? Like it's like savings from the business, or is that your money? That's an important question. I use U-Haul rentals for trailer and their box trucks. Do you use so you use the trailers for your SUV, and then you also use their box trucks. Of the 6,000 on a 6x12 trailer, or should I continue to save for a dump trailer? Unsure if my SUV will be strong enough to pull a dump trailer, which means I'd have to buy a truck. It's from your taxes. Those are nice taxes. So to answer your question, in my opinion, the only problem with, I mean, you have a pretty high tow capacity. If you got a dump trailer, you're not going to be able to pull it with an SUV with a 9,000 capacity. You might be able to get a dump trailer and put like maybe 1 ton in it. But at that point, the cost of the dump trailer, you're going to want something lighter. I would do a tandem axle, so double axle. I made that mistake of doing a single axle in my first trailer. I would either do a 6.5 by 12 or a 6.5 by 14. They're both pretty much the same thing. You just get 2 extra feet in length, so you can hold a little bit more trash per each job, which can be beneficial. Just make sure you price accordingly. And then I would put either 4 or 5 foot size on it. You can either do a wood build, which I did recently with my 14 foot, or you can do a aluminum build, which is what my first trailer is. And if you go back early on in my videos, like 2022, 2023, I actually talk about it a little bit. If you can find a fabrication company in your area, but that's a lightweight option. So you're able to handle more weight without pushing those boundaries. But I would do the utility trailer route just because on an SUV, that's going to be a lot of weight right off the back. And then if you ever need to, you can always rent a bigger U-Haul for those bigger jobs versus making multiple trips. And that's pretty much what I did. I would either get a pickup truck from U-Haul if it was like a small minimum pickup, because they have the 8-foot beds a lot. And then I would get a 15-foot truck for the most part because it's the next size up that has a ramp. So that was my main reason for not wanting to do the 10-foot. And then if it was a big job, I got the 20 foot or the 26 foot. I mean, price wise, it does eat into your profits. I'm very familiar with that territory. But I would argue that you are saving on commercial insurance, which sucks. It is not a cheap insurance to have. Anybody will tell you that. General liability, not a problem. Literally, like 50 to 90 bucks a month, depending on your area and how much you got going on. But commercial, even for just like a pickup truck and the standard trailer, you're looking at like 400 or 500 bucks, maybe even a little bit more, depending on where you're located. So it's you're going to be adding on to your overhead. And if you're ready for that and you have enough business coming in every month to sustain that and still make the same profit, then by all means. But I would personally, I would get a utility trailer, pull it with your SUV, run that until it just becomes too inconvenient to do otherwise. And and then you can upgrade your trailer or upgrade your truck or do both. Maybe trade in your SUV and get a truck off of it. So that way you don't have to put down such a hefty down payment and then just finance it. Or see if you can buy one really cheap used. But that's what I would personally do. When it comes to dump trailers, I might be a little biased because I always talk shit about it. But dump trailers, in my opinion, they are the perfect thing if you're hauling 100% trash or you're doing debris jobs. Otherwise, if you are getting furniture and if you're on your own a lot, I don't know if you have employees or if you're working by yourself. If it's debris or straight trash, by all means, toss it in there. It doesn't matter. Go to the dump, push a button, offloads it. It's a beautiful thing. However, if you're on your own and you're loading big furniture and all kinds of stuff that you don't necessarily aren't really planning on just dumping, maybe you're going to donate it, maybe you're going to sell it. That's going to be an issue because you can't really stack it or quarterly in the truck without making more of an inconvenience. There's also an issue to depending on how high your dump trailer is, unless you have a custom ramp for it, you have to now load everything by hand. You have to bring it up to the edge, lift it into it, push it back, readjust it. That's always been my concern with the dump trailer. I've loaded them before. It was a fucking pain in the ass. You know what I do with heavy furniture? I put it on my hand truck and I roll it right up my ramp in my trailer, position it down. When I get to the dump, I do the same thing. It takes me less than 10 minutes to offload a fully loaded truck of furniture, and it takes me just as fast to load it. So that's my opinion, but I'm a little biased, but that's me. Um, 2002 Ford Expedition. I went on a little rant there. I'm sorry. 2002 Ford Expedition. You can pull 3 tons safely. I guess. I look when it comes to tow capacity. I now know how trucks operate. I used to never know. I always was a box truck kind of guy, but I see guys with like a little Nissan, like old. It's a Caribbean. It's common, like Haiti and stuff. One of those old Nissans SUVs that look like they're about to fall apart, and people will be pulling like a 16-foot dump trailer with like roofing materials in it, and it's like, how does it not just fall in half? I don't understand how that works. But my truck has an issue. It's crazy. Chicago, I'm using my cargo van for now, and I rent a 16-foot truck for bigger jobs. There you go. I honestly, that's a topic of today's video. Honestly, I would get a pickup truck if I had to start over again, and then just use U-Hauls for bigger jobs. But I mean, you get some sides on a pickup truck, you can get a lot of stuff in there, especially if you know how to pack it. Yeah, I mean, dumping saves time to a degree. I guess it depends on, like I said, if you're doing trash and debris, then yeah, it's going to save you time. It's going to save you energy. But I would argue that, the loading process is going to take just as much time and energy. I feel like you actually meet in the middle. But like I said, if you're loading debris, I mean, bags and tile and just heavy crap you don't want to be lifting twice, absolutely. Like we plan on getting, I'm either going to do a dump trailer next. Right now we have 2 trailers. I'm either going to do a dump trailer next or we're going to save up and jump straight to the junk truck route or dump truck. And then we'll just keep the 14-foot and sell the 12-foot. But the objective would be with those dumping features, they would specialize in debris and trash. And then we would use our 14-foot utility trailer for anything furniture related because of the loading and the options to go to donation and go to selling and whatnot. But yeah, that's my take on the subject. So I'm not an expert, but that's what I would recommend personally based on my experience. Pretty much in the same predicament that you're in, except you're able to pull with your SUV. I didn't get that option with my Hyundai Elantra. So going back to the original topic, as I mentioned, it came up in conversation the other day about what you would do differently with your business. And if you had to kind of like go back with the knowledge you have now, and there's a lot of things I would do. I mean, I've made videos about this, but there was one thing that specifically stuck out to me just because I was kind of thinking about it the other day. If I had to start over again, I would have treated it more as a side hustle because when I first started, I got everything together in September of 2020. I'm not the risk it kind of person. I don't want to be out there operating without insurance. I don't want to be unlicensed. I don't want something to go wrong and it destroys my life. So I had my insurance in September. I had my business registered with the state, with the IRS. I had my EIN. I had my website up and going. I got uniforms. I already had equipment for moving. And then I got business cards and all that stuff. I still did things kind of frugal, like on the little stuff. But for the most part, I was ready to go full time into this business, but I didn't. I started in January 1st, 2021. That was my first job. And for the first year and a half, I was working more part time than not at the professional moving company. And if I didn't have a job lined up, I would text my manager and he'd say, "No problem, come in tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock." And it was taken care of. So I don't know why my screen is glitching. I don't know if you guys can see that too, or if it's just me. Stupid built-in webcams. But yeah, I just wish I had gone back and treated it more as a side hustle. Like I didn't need the insurance right away. I didn't need to be licensed right away. I would argue that it was good to get my domain out there. So at least I have the rights to the business name because that took forever to come up with finally. But everything else, like I could have waited on that stuff. I could have focused 100% on the Facebook and Nextdoor and even advertising with the moving company. That was like 1/3 of my jobs. I could have avoided anything else in the meantime, really honed in on that. And then once I was ready to leave the moving company, then go full time with everything. Because I was using the U-Haul trucks and I'd get the insurance with the U-Hauls, $10 for a pickup truck, 14 for the any of the other trucks. So like commercial does cover more than just the truck itself, but I would argue that I could get away with it for the most part. But that's just something I wish I had done differently. That would have been a huge cost factor that would have saved me a bit of money. I mean, I probably spent a few $1,000s the first year in bills that I weren't using to like the full potential. It's glitching a little bit at the bottom of the frame. Well, that's good at least. Last time I did a live, my volume kept kicking in and out, and it was a super pain. I don't know how to fix those things. I ended up just getting off of it. That's why I don't do lives often. I don't think my computer is built for it. Yard signs are working really well. That's good to hear. Yeah, yard signs are powerful if you're allowed to do them. People, that's the only tricky part is there's places where yard signs are frowned upon, and there's places where they're just flat out illegal, and every sign they find. What the fuck? Bugs. Damn cats. There's areas where you put one out and you'll get a fine of like a few hundred for every sign they find. I know some people in like even just like in Florida, northern Florida, they got like a $250 fine per sign, and they had a few of them out there in that specific area. So you really got to do your homework. But I will say, if you do have an area that doesn't allow yard signs, I would still get them. But instead of doing something like this, just get your logo and name on it and put them out in your customers' yards. It's a branded sign, so it doesn't have like contact information on it. But because it's in your customers' front yards, that's private property with permission. So you can put that up there for a couple of days, weeks, whatever, how long they allow it to be there, and the city can't complain about it. And at least that way, you get some brand recognition and exposure to the neighbors and the people driving around. But yes, they are a powerful tool because unlike a business card or a door hanger that's only specific to that one person, they're doing Zoom. They always do these things during their lives. Damn cats. Um, you put one yard sign up in a busy intersection, and it can be seen by hundreds, if not thousands, of people before it finally gets taken down. So they definitely have their pros to it. I mean, they cost a little bit more money, but it's different material. You know, it's costly. But you get 100 of those things, you put them out with strategy